So here in Iowa, we're going through something called Snowmageddon. Snowmageddon is just happening outside. It's crazy out there. So I've been stuck at home doing nothing. And as the snow was going down, I thought to myself, this snow kind of reminds me of the movie Alive. Why did it make me think of the movie Alive? Don't judge me on that. Anyway, Alive. So Alive came out in 1993, and it's about the rugby team that was on flight 571 that was going from Uruguay to Chile for a rugby game. And the way it starts off, they start off in the plane. They're throwing the football around, having fun. They're basically being pals and all such. The pilots are doing their own thing. The coaches are trying to calm them down. It's not like a castaway situation where they say goodbye to their loved ones before they take off, before the tragedy that will occur. No, it basically starts from stage one, the moment when it actually happened. See, the pilot thought to himself, to real life, he thought he was okay to lower the plane because he thought he was out of range of the mountains. Problem is, the Andes Mountains are some of the biggest mountains in the world. So thinking that you are higher up in the mountain range is a bit of a problem. Yeah, I mean, if you guys want to know where the Andes Mountains are, you see the country of Argentina, and then you see the country of Chile. You see their border right there? That's the Andes Mountains, and that is a place you do not want to get stranded there. You just don't want to get stranded there. And once when the pilot finally notices the top of the mountains, it was already too late. He tried to pull up, but the pull up was no good. The top of the mountain took off the tail of the plane, and the way the crash happened was really good. I mean, the tail comes off, there are people still strapped to their seats, flying out of the back, and then there are people panicking, and then the plane's getting out of control, the wings are getting knocked off from the rocks, to the point where there's only the front end of the plane, and it's just sliding down this little valley area that in the mountain range, kind of like the plane did in the movie Madagascar 2. Just not as funny. I mean, as soon as the plane hits its mark, there are people that are dead. There are people that are seriously injured. There are people that are dying. The coaches are dead. The pilots are dead. Several players are dead. Their family members are dead. It's a very bad situation. And the way they played it off in the very first half hour was really good, because once when that final moment happened, I just thought to myself, how are you going to get out of this situation? Because you're at the top of a mountain. I mean, climbing down a mountain without mountain gear is a really dumb idea. So you would have no choice but to sit there and wait for help to come. And you can really feel the way their situation is, because they're at the front end of this plane. They're cold. They're hungry. You can hear the injured wailing in the background. It's just a very bad situation, and the only thing they could do is sit there and wait for help. And the idea of hope that help will come soon was so big in this group that they expected to be rescued soon. But the problem is, in real life, they lasted 72 days on that mountain. And yeah, that's a very scary thought. And the way they put it out, in America, we would think to ourselves, oh, it's in the month of June. That means it's summertime. It's going to get warmer, so they'll find a way to survive. Guys, you're in North America. This is South America, which means to them it is winter. This is not a good place to be. And the way their situation goes from bad to even worse really does play out in this film. I mean, the death toll is starting to rise. They are burying their family members out in the snow. And the idea of them being rescued is starting to shrink very, very fast. But that's not the elephant in the room when it comes to this story. The big issue that the survivors had to deal with in this situation was the food situation. They were not on an international plane that would go 10,000 miles until the very next fill up, which means they would have plenty of food. No, they were on a small plane, which means the only thing that they would have is like crackers and chocolate, something that is hard to survive on in 72 days in the mountains. The only thing that they can really think about, and this is something that the survivors still regret to this day, was that they had to eat the dead. And that's one of the scarring things that this movie really plays out, because as soon as that little subject was brought up, none of them want to do it. I mean, it was not even an option. I mean, they're starving at this point, but the idea of eating their friends, loved ones, or even anybody for that matter, was a bit of a no-no. In fact, some of them even died of starvation because they refused to go through with that scenario. And, well, let's just say in America, we have the Donner Party. In South America, they have Flight 571. It's not a thing to celebrate. They don't even praise it in the movie. As a matter of fact, it's a very big thing when they finally decided to do it. It was a very emotional scene. One of the teens goes over, takes a piece, takes a bite, tries to make light of the situation, but all of his friends are just looking at him thinking, what is happening to us? I mean, they're all Christian children, and the idea of when you finally pass away and you meet the Lord himself, and the biggest sin that you ever committed in your life was cannibalism, how the heck do you explain that? So they had to dive into a religious pact in order to get through this. I mean, you don't want to die. I mean, you want to survive. So they made a pact in order for them to accept this situation. And the one actor that I recognize immediately that is one of the characters is Ethan Hawke. Ethan Hawke basically is, I think he was like in his teens when he did this movie, but he's not exactly the main character. He's just the most recognizable character in this movie. This movie doesn't necessarily have a main character to focus on. They focus on all of the kids and the way they live in this situation. The fact that all of the survivors were still alive at this point for the writers to get the full version of what happened, it really does feel realistic. It really does feel like they're in a very bad situation, and in the hope of finding survival, just slipping away every now and then. You can feel it in this movie. So I gotta say, the movie Alive was well directed, well made. It's a very disturbing movie to watch, especially what they had to go through in order to survive. But the idea behind it and the story behind it, it really is a story to be remembered. So I gotta say, Alive is classic. That's all I can really say. That's all I can really say about it. It's really tough to mention movies like this, especially when it has certain facts in it that you have to address. But that's also life. So guys, Alive, have you seen it? What did you think of it? Whatever you thought, comment down below. Also, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you in the next video.